So is it just me, or is everyone talking about inflation and prices and taxes? The cost of living is definitely on everyone's mind. So when you think of Kansas City, do you think the cost of living here in Kansas City is higher than the average, lower than the average, about the same cost of living as the average cost of living price in the United States? What are your thoughts? Well, hold on to your hat because I'm going to talk about it in today's video. My name is Julie Spaulding. I sell real estate here in the Kansas City market with Better Homes and Gardens, Kansas City Homes. Okay, what did you say? What do you think? Kansas City higher, lower, about the same? Well, if you answered yes to any of those, you are correct. Yes, like many things here in Kansas City, we have a variety and something for everyone. So today I want to show you a heat map. I love saying that for some reason. It seemed very cool. But I want to show you a heat map that is going to show you the different areas of Kansas City and where they fall in regards to the kind of the average cost of living. So if we look at it here, it has a chart at the bottom, and the lighter the color on this chart, the lower the cost of living is. So the white or really light purple is a lower cost of living, and the darker the color, the more expensive it costs to live in that area. So let's take a look at the Missouri side first. So you can actually see right where the state line is, right? That purple, big purple part here kind of in the middle is Kansas City, Missouri. And so the lighter purple is still a little bit lower than the average cost of living in the United States. You can see there's quite a bit of that. Independence area here is lower cost of living. And then as we move up in kind of the pink colors, it gets just a little bit more expensive. So for instance, Liberty is a little bit more expensive to live in if we're on the Missouri side here. Raymore, Belton, Greenwood, down in those areas. And then we also have some pretty dark pink areas, right? So like Lee Summit is above the national average as far as cost of living. And then the really dark areas you can see are significantly more expensive than the average cost. So Parkville up here is pretty expensive. Weatherby Lake, couple lake communities that make it a little bit more expensive. And over here on the eastern side of Kansas City, we have Lake Lonawanna, another lake community. And this little portion down here underneath Greenwood, Lee Summit area, again, are two lake communities, and that just makes it a little bit more expensive to live there. Right here on the state line is Loch Lloyd, and Loch Lloyd used to only be on the Missouri side. They're now building into the Kansas side, but both sides are going to be pretty significantly more expensive than the average. And if you're looking to find Patrick Mill homes, that's where you're going to find him. If we jump on over to the Kansas side, Kansas City, Kansas is actually a pretty lower cost of living there in Kansas City, Kansas. So in Wyandotte County, there is also Bonner Springs and Edgerton, Basser, Lansing is up there as well. You can see that those get just a little bit more expensive to live in. And then this big pink area down here is what people call Johnson County. So that is Johnson County. And you can see that most of it is a little bit higher than the national average. There's a blue line around Overland Park, and that's just because that's what I searched for. If you look in Merriam or Mission, Roland Park, some of those are real close to the national average. And then there's a strip going down the state line. It starts up here further north, and that's Mission Hills, very pricey, and then moves into Prairie Village and to Leawood, and then touches up with Loch Lloyd down here. So that section of Kansas right on the state line is going to be some of the most expensive areas to live in all of the metropolitan area. So as you can see from this map, we have every color. So we have every different type of kind of cost of living that you can see. So another thing I want to share with you is just the median income. So if we're looking not just at cities, but entire Jackson County on the Missouri side, the average income or household income, which could be one person or two people or three people, but the average household income in Jackson County, in the county, is around $57,000. The average household income in Johnson County, that was that big pink area, is around $92,000. So you can see there's quite a difference in household incomes in those two counties. Now, according to experts, I'm not sure who experts are, but according to them, you're supposed to spend about 30% of your income, monthly income, on housing. So I brought up two different things. I'm going to show you a little chart that has some information on renting. So if I pulled up Overland Park again, and you'll see there are four different lines. So the orange is Overland Park, the dark blue is Kansas City, the entire metro, not just Missouri or Kansas, but the entire metro area. The medium blue is Kansas, the state of Kansas, and then the light blue is the whole average for the United States. So if we look at a 2-bedroom, what it shows for Overland Park is that a 2-bedroom apartment is around $1,500. Again, in Overland Park, it's pretty large. There's going to be a variety, different price ranges, of course, but the average is about $1,500. If you're looking in the metro area, it's saying that the average 2-bedroom is around $1,160. And if you're looking in the state of Kansas, it's around $970. But nationwide, a 2-bedroom average is $1,430. So you can see we're pretty close to the average. The average is kind of in the middle. So that's renting. Now, a lot of people own their homes, right? So I wanted to just give you an idea of the average home price. Again, this is just an average. It's just the middle. And there is everything in between. There's highs and there are lows, and there's everything in between. But this just kind of gives you an idea. In Kansas City, Missouri, the average home price is $222,000. In Overland Park, again, this is not all of Johnson County, just Overland Park, and that median sales price is $414,000. So you can see there's a little bit of difference. Again, kind of matches up with that lighter color and the darker colors that we saw in Johnson County. So one more thing I want to show you. There's NerdWallet is a website. It has some really pretty cool information. So if you want to check that out, but on NerdWallet, it gives you the opportunity to compare cities. Like, for instance, I compared Kansas City to Nashville or Kansas City to Dallas, and I put in 50,000. So as far as how much money that somebody makes. So if you were living in Kansas City and you have 50,000, what would it be like in Nashville? And what it comes up with, that is, in Nashville, you would need $51,152 for the same type of living as you would in Kansas City. So a little bit higher. And I also put in Dallas. Again, that is also a little bit higher. To live in Dallas, you would need almost $55,000 to have the same standard of living as you would in Kansas City. So I thought, well, let's look at some of the other options. So I pulled up Wichita, right? That's just south of Kansas City, about 3 hours in Kansas. And to live in Wichita, Kansas, you would need around $47,000, $330 to $47,000 to have the same standard of living as you would on your $50,000 in Kansas City. And one more, I pulled up Des Moines, Iowa, because again, that one is also about 3 hours from us north. That's heading north, and a little bit smaller city, but you would need about $45,000 to live in Des Moines on the same standard of living as $50,000 in Kansas City. So you can kind of see some cities are higher, some are lower. So one more thing I wanted to talk about are sales taxes. So if you are on the Missouri side, you're going to pay around 8.5% to 9.5% tax based on the city that you're in, as well as the school district that you're in. About the same thing in Kansas, except that you're maybe paying 9 to 10% in sales taxes. It's a little bit higher on the Kansas side. One thing to consider is if you're living in Kansas City, Missouri, Kansas City, the city, or you're working in Kansas City, Missouri, they have a 1% sales tax on your income. So if you make $50,000 and you live in Kansas City, Missouri, you're going to pay $500 in taxes goes directly to the city. If you live in Kansas and you work in Missouri and you make $50,000, you're also going to pay $500 of their 1% earned income tax. If you earn $100,000, you're going to pay $1,000. So it doesn't matter if you live there or you work there, they're going to get their taxes. As far as personal property taxes on your home, the entire metro has several different prices, but on the average, you're going to pay around 1% to 1.5% of the price of your home. So if you live in a $300,000 house, you're going to pay around $3,000 to around $4,500 for that house. All right, I hope this information was helpful for you. If you have any questions about a specific area, let me know. And if you want to know more about Overland Park or Kansas City, Missouri, take a look at those videos. And remember, you deserve to love where you live.